Jack Miller sat straight in his uncomfortable chair, designed for a body shape nothing like his own. The massive chamber of the Galactic Council stretched around him, filled with representatives from 200 alien species. Few of them looked his way. Those that did showed only boredom or mild disgust. 5 years. 5 years he had been coming to this room, making the same requests. 5 years of being ignored, dismissed, or outright mocked. The human petition for technology sharing access is denied, announced High Counselor Zexitara, her 6 eyes not even looking at Jack as she spoke. As is their request for revised trade agreements. Jack nodded once. He had expected this. The message from Earth's united government had prepared him for today. They all knew this would be the outcome. May I ask the Council's reasoning? Jack kept his voice calm and polite. The training of a diplomat never left him, even now. The High Counselor sighed dramatically, a whistling sound through her breathing slits. As we have explained numerous times, Ambassador Miller, humans are simply not ready for advanced technology, access. Your species remains unpredictable and prone to violence. The current arrangements are generous considering your short time on the galactic stage. Around the chamber, many representatives nodded in agreement. The few who looked uncomfortable said nothing. I understand, Jack said. He closed his tablet and stood up. Earth thanks the Council for its time. Counselor Drav of the Bolian Federation leaned forward. That's it? No arguments today, Ambassador? Jack smiled slightly. The United Government of Earth accepts the Council's decision. A confused silence filled the chamber. For 5 years, Jack had argued passionately at every rejection. Today, he simply collected his materials and walked toward the exit. Ambassador Miller, called the High Counselor. The Council has additional matters regarding human trade outposts to discuss. Jack paused at the door. I believe all relevant matters have been addressed. Good day. Outside in the corridor, Jack's assistant Ryan Cooper waited with anxious eyes. They rejected everything, didn't they? Ryan asked. Jack nodded. He quickened his pace toward the human embassy section of the massive space station. Send the confirmation. Code to Earth. Tell them the Council's response was as expected. Protocol Exodus is approved. Ryan's eyes widened. He lowered his voice. They really want to go through with it? The vote was unanimous, Jack replied. 5 years of trying to be heard. 5 years of being treated like children. The Council has made their position clear. They entered Jack's office, the doors sealing behind them. Security measures activated, blocking any listening devices. What exactly does Protocol Exodus involve? Ryan asked. They only told me it was contingency planning. Jack walked to the window, looking out at the sprawling Council station with its thousands of ships coming and going. It means we're leaving, Ryan. Leaving? You mean closing the embassy? I mean humanity is leaving Council space entirely. All of it. Every outpost, every trade station, every research team. Everyone comes home. Ryan sat down hard. But, we're everywhere. Humans work throughout Council space. Mostly in jobs they think are beneath them, Jack said. Mining operations, engineering maintenance, security services. They've never seen us as equals, so we're going to show them what happens when humans walk away. Ryan's face was pale. The Council will be furious. Jack shrugged. Let them be. We found something better anyway. You mean the discovery in the void reaches? That's confirmed. Jack nodded. Eric's team found an entire network, places the Council has never been, and some of those places have people who actually want to work with us as equals. Ryan whistled softly. So Protocol Exodus isn't just leaving, it's going somewhere else. Exactly. Jack turned from the window. I need you to start sending the coded alerts. Every human operation in Council space needs to begin shutdown procedures. Quietly, orderly, by the book. How long do we have? 3 weeks to start the withdrawal. 8 weeks to complete it. Ryan nodded slowly. And what happens when the Council finally notices? Jack smiled. By then it'll be too late. They'll start to understand what they've lost only when it's gone. Lisa, Hendricks watched her crew load the last supply crates onto the Pathfinder. Around them, the once busy human outpost on Proxima Station stood nearly empty. 5 years of work packed up in 3 days. "Status report," she called to her first officer. Ben Ellis checked his tablet. "All personnel accounted for. Final equipment. Loads completing now. We're right on schedule, Captain." Lisa nodded. Protocol Exodus was unfolding exactly as planned across Council space. No panic, no dramatic scenes, just quiet, efficient withdrawal. A group of Trilaxian merchants watched from across the loading bay, their scaled faces showing confusion. One approached Lisa cautiously. "Captain Hendricks, we heard rumors of humans closing operations. Surely, this is temporary?" The Trilaxian's translator conveyed his worried tone. Lisa smiled politely. "I'm afraid our contracts have expired, Merchant Grell. Earth is reconsidering its position in galactic affairs." "But who will manage the mineral processing plants? The Council species consider such work unsuitable." "I'm sure the Council will find solutions," Lisa said. She didn't add that those solutions would likely be expensive and inefficient. The Trilaxian's inner eyelids blinked rapidly. "Is this about the Council's technology restrictions? Perhaps a compromise?" "The decision has been made," Lisa interrupted gently. "We're just going home." Across the station, similar scenes played. Human engineers powered down systems they had maintained for years. Human security teams handed over their duties to unprepared Council forces. Human medical staff transferred their patients to alien doctors unfamiliar with their specialized treatments. Through it all, Council officials remained oblivious to the true scale of what was happening. They saw only isolated incidents, not the pattern. On the Council's central communications hub, Ambassador Jack Miller delivered his formal notice. "Earth will be reconsidering its position in galactic affairs," he stated calmly to the small committee that couldn't be bothered to assemble the full Council for a human matter. "We thank the Council for its past cooperation." Councillor Drav snorted. "A dramatic response to reasonable restrictions. How typical of humans." "You'll return when your stubbornness yields to economic reality," added another Council member. Jack merely nodded. "Perhaps. Good day, councillors." Back on the Pathfinder, Lisa received the update that Ambassador Miller had delivered his message. The withdrawal was now official. She addressed her crew over the ship's communication system. "All personnel secure for departure. We are the last human vessel in this sector. Once we leave, Protocol Exodus enters its next phase." Ben stood beside her on the bridge, watching the final loading through the viewport. "Captain, some of the Council species are starting to worry. I overheard a Viridian saying this might impact their supply chains." "They're right to worry," Lisa said quietly. "They just don't know how much yet." The Pathfinder's engines hummed to life. Across Council space, the last human ships were doing the same, not with angry declarations or threats, but with calm professionalism that most Council species misinterpreted as surrender. The Council Intelligence Director sent a direct message, Ben reported. "He's asking for clarification on our withdrawal timeline." Lisa smiled. "Send him the standard response. Earth thanks you for your inquiry. All human operations in Council space have reached their natural conclusion." "That won't satisfy him. It's not meant to." The Pathfinder lifted smoothly from the docking bay. On the station's observation deck, Council species gathered, some mocking what they saw as a human tantrum, others watching with growing unease. "Course laid in for the Sol system," the navigator announced. Lisa nodded. "Take us home." As the ship accelerated away, Lisa accessed her secure terminal to check the Exodus protocol status. Nearly 800 human operations across Council space had already shut down. 3,000 more would close within the week. Not a single replacement plan had been implemented by the Council. "They really think we'll come crawling back," Ben said, reading over her shoulder. Lisa shook her head. "They don't understand that. We were never the beggars at their table. We were the ones keeping their feast from falling apart." Peter Gonzalez sipped his coffee as he watched the news feeds in his apartment on Earth. 3 months had passed since the last human ship left Council space. The screens showed what everyone had been waiting for: The beginning of the collapse. Reports from Centauri Prime indicate complete failure of the automated defense grid, said the news anchor. Council authorities have declared a state of emergency as systems continue to shut down across multiple sectors. Peter wasn't surprised. As a former engineering consultant to the Council, he had designed many of the patches and workarounds that kept their flawed systems running. The Council had always dismissed his warnings about their technology's fundamental weaknesses. They called his solutions temporary fixes, while promising proper upgrades that never came. His comm unit beeped. An old colleague from his council days was calling. Peter almost didn't answer, but curiosity won out. "Peter, thank goodness," said Krill, his Nelvian friend whose image flickered on the screen. "The station is falling apart. Nothing works right anymore." "Hello, Krill. It's been a while," Peter replied calmly. "The council is in complete chaos. The defense, systems, power distribution, waste management, all failing. They're saying the human maintenance team sabotaged everything before leaving." Peter laughed softly. "No sabotage needed. We just stopped applying the band-aids that kept everything working. All those simple maintenance tasks you gave to humans, they were actually critical system corrections." Krill's antennae drooped. The council misunderstood. "The council chose not to understand," Peter corrected. "I filed 17 reports about the flaws in the Centauri Prime defense grid alone, all ignored or dismissed." On another screen, Peter saw footage of long lines forming at food distribution centers throughout council space. The complex supply chains that humans had managed were breaking down as well. "The economic minister says trade has decreased by 20% already," Krill said desperately. "They're talking about sending a delegation to Earth to discuss the humans returning." "To discuss," Peter repeated with a small smile. "Not to demand or order, but to discuss. That's progress, I suppose." His tablet pinged with an alert. The patches he'd designed for the Council's main communication hub had just expired. Without renewal, their entire interstellar communication network would begin degrading within days. "We need you back, Peter," Krill pleaded. "The Council was wrong. They see that now." Do they? Or do they just want their maintenance crews back, without changing anything fundamental about how they treat us? The news feeds showed more scenes of chaos. A luxury space liner drifted powerless near Proxima Station, its Council engineering team unable to restart engines that human technicians had routinely serviced. On Boreas 4, automated mining operations had ground to a halt without the human operators that the Council had deemed unnecessary overhead costs. "The Council has scheduled an emergency session," Krill said. "They're going to vote on offering humans full technology sharing rights." "Too little, too late," Peter replied. "Earth has moved on." "What does that mean?" Peter didn't answer directly. "Have you noticed that all attempts to contact Earth beyond simple messages have failed? That our entire solar system seems to have disappeared from long-range scanners?" Krill's eyes widened. "The rumors are true? You've developed some kind of system-wide cloaking technology?" "Let's just say humanity decided if the Council wanted us confined to our solar system, we'd take the entire system off their maps." An alert flashed across Krill's screen, and his image began to break up. "The communication network is failing. Peter, please, tell your government we're ready to negotiate, as equals." "I'll pass along the message," Peter said as the connection died. He turned back to the news feeds showing Council space in growing disarray. No violence, no attacks, no human revenge, just the natural consequences of underestimating humanity's role in keeping everything working. His government tablet lit up with a notification, "Project Beyond entering final phase. All personnel prepare for transition." Peter smiled. The Council would soon discover that humanity hadn't just withdrawn its support, it had found a better path forward entirely. Karen Wu studied the economic reports with quiet satisfaction. 6 months had passed since humanity's withdrawal from Council space, and the situation was even worse than predicted. From her office in Earth's central government building, she could see the massive engineering project that now surrounded the planet, the final layers of the cloaking system that had hidden the entire solar system from Council detection. Director Wu, Her assistant called from the doorway. "The latest reports from our monitoring drones are in." Karen nodded and gestured for him to continue. "Council economy has contracted by 32%. Their credit system is close to collapse. Food shortages have begun on 7 major worlds." "And the security situation?" Karen asked. "Exactly as expected. The Draxan raiders have increased attacks on Council shipping lanes by 80%. Without human security contractors, the Council defense forces are completely overwhelmed." Karen wasn't surprised. The Council had always criticized human security teams as unnecessarily aggressive and over-militarized. Now they were learning why that aggression had been necessary. "What about the emergency council session?" she asked. "It just concluded. They voted unanimously to send a high-level delegation to Earth with major concessions, full technology sharing, equal trade rights, and a formal apology." Karen almost laughed. A bit late for that. Her screen lit up with an urgent alert. The council delegation had already departed for Earth and was approaching the former location of the Sol jump gate. "Should we respond to them?" her assistant asked. Karen considered for a moment. "Yes. Send the automated message. Humanity has left the conversation. Nothing more." On her screen, she watched as the council ships arrived at the coordinates where Earth's jump gate had once been. They found nothing but empty space and a series of small beacons broadcasting the message. The confusion on the council delegates' faces was clear even through the grainy surveillance feed. "They're trying to scan for our solar system," her assistant reported. "Their sensors show nothing but normal space." "The cloaking technology works perfectly," Karen said with pride. The project had been in development for years, originally designed as a defense against the hostile species beyond council space. Now it served a different purpose, giving humanity the privacy it needed for its next great leap. In another part of the building, the Council for Interstellar Development was meeting. Karen's screen showed live footage as they reviewed the progress of Project Beyond. The massive colony ships were nearly complete, hidden within the cloaked solar system, ready to depart for the coordinates that Scout Eric Daniels had discovered in the void reaches. Her tablet pinged with a new message, a rare direct communication from the Galactic Council's High Chancery. Karen opened it with curiosity. "Director Wu," the message began. "The Council acknowledges mistakes in our approach to human integration. We face unprecedented crises and request immediate assistance. Our civilization stands on the brink of collapse without human expertise. The Council offers full species recognition and autonomy in exchange for humanity's return." Karen forwarded the message to the United Government without comment. They all knew it was too late for such offers. Outside her window, she could see the massive ships under construction. Humanity wasn't just leaving Council space. They were leaving known space entirely, heading for the network of ancient gateways that Eric had discovered. Gateways that led to parts of the galaxy the Council had never explored, where other civilizations waited who might treat humans as equals from the start. Her assistant appeared at the door again. "Director, we're detecting multiple ships entering our outer monitoring perimeter. They appear to be pirate vessels pursuing a Council diplomatic courier." "Let me guess," Karen said. "The pirates are Draxan raiders?" "Yes, the same group that human military advisors were containing before we left." Karen sighed. "Launch the automated defense drones to drive them off. We're not monsters. We won't let refugees die on our doorstep, but don't bring any of them into the solar system." As the defense order went out, Karen turned back to her economic reports. The Council was learning the hard way that humanity hadn't been dependent on them. It had been the other way around all along. Zolnar paced the length of his office, his 4 legs moving in an agitated rhythm. As the Council's intelligence director, he had never failed a mission until now. Finding humans should have been simple. No species could just vanish. Yet Earth had done exactly that. The entire solar system was simply gone from space, hidden by technology the Council had never imagined possible. "Director, your next appointment is here," his assistant announced. Zolnar composed himself. "Send him in." Alan Foster entered the room slowly. He was one of the few humans who had remained in Council space, married to a Zalesian artist. His presence had become extremely valuable since the human withdrawal. "Thank you for coming, Mr. Foster," Zollner said. Alan nodded, but remained silent. His face showed no emotion. "The situation grows worse daily," Zollner continued. "Our economy is failing. Pirate attacks increase. Critical systems are breaking down faster than we can repair them." "And you want me to help you find Earth?" Alan stated flatly. "We need to open communication channels. The Council has authorized me to offer humans whatever they want. Full technology access, equal voting rights, everything." Alan smiled slightly. 9 months ago, that offer would have meant something. "Surely your people don't want to see suffering spread across the galaxy," Zollner pleaded. "Billions of innocents will be affected if this continues. My people offered to help for 5 years. The Council treated humans like children." Alan walked to the window, looking out at the once grand Council capital, now showing signs of decay. "Besides, I don't know where they've gone." "But you know something about Project Beyond," Zollner pressed. Alan turned. "How did you learn that? Name?" "We found fragments of data in abandoned human facilities. Something about the void reaches and a scout named Eric Daniels." Alan's face tightened. "If you know that much, you also know the Council declared the void reaches off limits for exploration, called it unprofitable and dangerous. Yet humans explored it anyway. We explore everything. It's what we do." Zollner moved closer. "What did Daniels find out there?" "Please, Mr. Foster. Lives are at stake." Alan sighed. "I only know rumors. Eric found something ancient, a network of some kind. Gateways to other parts of the galaxy. Parts unknown to the Council." "Impossible," Zollner breathed. "Our surveys covered everything within reach. Your surveys focused on what the Council valued. Resources, habitable planets, trade routes. Humans look for the unknown itself. Across the city, in the dusty archives of the Galactic Historical Society, a team of Council archaeologists made their own discovery. They found records of a human xenoarchaeologist named Nicole Reyes, who had submitted research about ancient gateway technology years before the human withdrawal. The Council Science Board had dismissed her findings as speculative and lacking evidence. Now, as they reviewed her work with desperate attention, they realized she had mapped unusual energy patterns throughout the void reaches. The same patterns Daniels must have followed. Back in Zollner's office, the intelligence director made his final plea. "The Council has authorized an expedition to the void reaches. We need a human guide. Someone who understands how your people think." Alan shook his head. "I'm not a scout or explorer. I'm an artist who married the woman I love." "There have been rumors," Zollner said carefully, "of human colony ships spotted near the galactic rim. If we could confirm, if humans don't want to be found, you won't find them." Alan interrupted. "Have you considered that maybe this is exactly what the Council needed?" "What do you mean?" "A chance to grow up, to solve problems without expecting humans to do the hard work." Zollner's communication panel lit up with an urgent message. The Council had called an emergency session. Reports were coming in from the wire. Furthest monitoring stations, a massive energy surge had been detected in the void reaches. "It seems," Alan said, looking at the alert. "My people have made their move." Zollner stared at the data in shock. "What are they doing out there?" "Starting over," Alan replied simply. "With people who respect them." As Zollner rushed out to attend the emergency session, Alan remained by the window. He pulled a small device from his pocket, a communicator unlike any Council design. The message that appeared confirmed what he already suspected. The first human ships had successfully traversed the gateway. Project Beyond had succeeded. "Good luck," he whispered before hiding the device again. The Council ship Eternal Wisdom drifted slowly into the void reaches. On its bridge, 7 Council members sat in uncomfortable silence. For centuries, this region of space had been avoided, marked on maps with warnings about strange energy readings. Now desperation drove them where fear had kept them away. "Any sign of human activity?" asked High Counselor Zexitara. Age had not been kind to her in the year since humanity's departure. The stress of managing a crumbling civilization showed in her dulled scales. "Nothing yet," the navigator replied. "But the energy readings grow stronger." Counselor Drav clutched his seat as the ship trembled slightly. "This is madness. We should never have come here." "We had no choice," Zextara snapped. "Our civilization is collapsing. The Draxon horde advances on our outer colonies. Without humans to help maintain our defenses, we cannot hold them back much longer." The science officer's console beeped urgently. "Energy spike ahead. Massive reading." "On screen," ordered Zextara. The view screen showed only empty space for a moment, then reality itself seemed to fold. A massive structure appeared, a ring of dark metal bigger than any council space station, covered in symbols no council member recognized. "A gateway," whispered Zextara, "just as the human record suggested." "It bears signs of recent use," the science officer reported, "and there are definitely human energy signatures." Drav studied the readings with growing alarm. "They've been activating these gateways throughout the void reaches. How many are there?" "According to the research by Nicole Reyes that we ignored, at least 17. Another counselor replied bitterly. The ship moved closer to the gateway. Around its edges, small devices clearly of human design monitored the structure. The science officers' scans showed they had been collecting data for years. They were planning this long before they left council space, Zextara realized. While we dismissed them, they were mapping an escape route. "Not just an escape," the science officer corrected. "These readings suggest ships have gone through in both directions. They're trading with whoever or whatever is on the other side." Drav's face showed shock. "You mean they found new allies beyond known space?" "Allies who might share technology we denied them," Zextara said grimly. The science officer worked at his console. "I'm detecting a small human probe. It appears to be collecting data on the gateway's stability. Can we capture it? Perhaps it contains information on where they went," Drav suggested. "We should send our own probe through the gateway." Another counselor proposed. "See what lies beyond." After brief debate, they agreed. A council probe launched toward the gateway. As it approached the center, the ring's interior shimmer brightened. The probe transmitted images of stars and patterns no council astronomer had ever seen. Then, abruptly, all contact with the probe ceased. "What happened?" demanded Zextara. "Unknown," the science officer replied. "But I'm detecting a message being transmitted from one of the human devices." The message appeared on their screen. "Permission not granted for transit. Return to council space immediately." Zextara stared at the message. "They're monitoring the gateways, controlling access." "We should force our way through," Drav insisted. "We have rights to all space exploration." "With what fleet?" Zextara countered. "Half our ships are inoperable without human maintenance. The other half are fighting the Draxon horde." As if summoned by their words, alerts blared across the bridge. 3 Draxon warships had entered the region, pursuing the council vessel. "They followed us here," the navigator cried in panic. "Retreat to council space," ordered Zextara. But as their engines engaged, a new alert sounded. The Draxon ships had launched weapons. Impact was seconds away. Then, impossibly, the weapons froze in space. The Draxon ships themselves seemed caught in invisible nets. Around the council vessel, space rippled as cloaking fields dropped, revealing 5 human ships of unfamiliar design. "This gateway is under human protection," came a transmission from the largest ship. "All hostile actions are prohibited." The council members watched in amazement as the human vessels effortlessly disabled the Draxon ships, using technology far beyond anything the council possessed. "They could have shared this with us," Drav whispered. "We never gave them reason to," Zextara replied quietly, finally understanding the true cost of the council's arrogance. 10 years after humanity's departure, the council chamber was a shadow of its former glory. Once bright lights flickered, and the grand curved ceiling showed cracks. Half the seats remained empty, their representatives unable to attend due to failing transport systems or worlds lost to the Draxon horde. High Counselor Zexitara, now stooped with age, called the session to order. We face the most critical vote in Council history. Our civilization cannot survive another year without significant change. The emergency alarms suddenly blared. Guards rushed to defensive positions as the chamber's massive doors opened. But instead of the feared Draxan attackers, a single human woman walked calmly into the room. Whispers spread among the council members. No human had set foot in this chamber since Ambassador Miller left a decade ago. "Identify yourself," Zexitara demanded, trying to hide her shock. "Captain Samantha Brooks of the Earthship Explorer," the woman replied. Her uniform was unlike any council design, sleek and functional, with strange symbols on the shoulders. "I bring a message from the United Government of Earth." The chamber fell silent. For 10 years, all attempts to contact Earth had failed. The solar system remained hidden from council detection. Expeditions to the gateways in the void reaches had been turned back by advanced human vessels. "You return when we are at our weakest," accused Councillor Drav. "Is this to gloat over our collapse?" Samantha smiled slightly. "If we wanted your collapse, we would have simply stayed away." She activated a small device on her wrist. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. Detailed schematics for council infrastructure repairs, defensive strategies against the Draxan horde, and agricultural improvements to address food shortages. "A gesture of goodwill," Samantha explained. "Enough to stabilize your most critical problems." Council members stared at the information in disbelief. Solutions to problems that had plagued them for years, freely offered. "Why would you help us? Now?" Zexitara asked. "After how the council treated humanity." "Because walking away was never about punishment," Samantha replied. "It was about earning respect." She activated another hologram, showing vast cities on unfamiliar worlds, advanced ships unlike any in council records, and humans working alongside alien species the council had never encountered. "Through the Gateway Network, we found civilizations who value what we offer. We've built thriving colonies and formed new alliances with species who treat us as equals. We've mapped 37% of a galaxy the Council never bothered to explore." "You show us your success while we suffer," Drav said bitterly. "I show you possibility," Samantha corrected. "Earth has authorized me to offer the Council a choice." The chamber grew tense as she continued. "You can continue alone, using the emergency aid we've provided to extend your civilization's life for perhaps another decade. Or you can accept humanity as true partners with full technology sharing and fair trade practices." Zexitara's hands trembled. What would such a partnership require of the Council? Equality, respect, recognition that different species contribute in different ways. The same things we asked for 10 years ago. "And if we agree?" asked another counselor. "Human engineers return to help rebuild. Our ships help defend against the Draxan. Our scientists share discoveries, and eventually access to the Gateway Network and the new worlds beyond." Council members whispered among themselves. After 10 years of decline, the choice was clear. "The Council will vote," Zexitara announced. The result was unanimous. After the formal acceptance, Samantha spoke privately with Zexitara in the chamber's antechamber. "Why offer this now?" the old counselor asked. "You've clearly thrived without us." "Humans don't hold grudges forever," Samantha replied. "We wanted you to understand our value not through our words, but through our absence. Now you do." "We do indeed," Zexitara admitted. "But I must ask, why help those who dismissed you? Many humans must have opposed this decision." Samantha looked out the window at the faded grandeur of the council world. "Because humans believe in second chances," she said. "And because the galaxy is too vast and wonderful for old grudges to matter. We found our place in the universe, now we're offering to help you find yours again." As she spoke, the first human ships appeared in the sky above, not as conquerors, but as partners ready to rebuild what had nearly been lost to pride and arrogance. 6 months after Captain Samantha Brooks's historic return to the council chamber, the changes were remarkable. Council worlds hummed with renewed activity as human engineers worked alongside Council species to rebuild failing infrastructure. The skies above once vulnerable planets now featured joint defense fleets that kept the Draxan horde at bay. In the newly established Human Council Cooperation Center on the Council capital world, Greg Watson supervised a team of engineers. As Earth's lead technology integration specialist, he faced daily challenges helping Council species understand human methods. "No, the power coupling needs to connect this way," Greg explained patiently to his Viridian assistant. "Your system tries to handle too much energy at once. That's why it keeps failing." The Viridian engineer named Trell clicked his mandibles in surprise. "But our design principles say, sometimes principles need updating when they don't work," Greg said with a smile. "That's something humans are good at, adapting when old ways fail." Across the room, Zexatera entered with a delegation of council representatives. Though still elderly, the High Counselor stood taller now, revitalized by hope. "Director Watson," she called. "Our visitors from the outer colonies wish to see your progress." Greg welcomed them warmly. The viewing gallery offered a perfect view of the city below, where construction crews combined human ingenuity with council resources. New buildings rose alongside repaired ones, stronger than before. The latest reports show economic growth, for the first time in 9 years, Zextera told the delegation proudly. Food production has stabilized and power systems now operate at 90% efficiency. "All this in just 6 months, marveled one delegate. "We should have appreciated humans long ago." Greg led them to a large holographic display showing the defense network. "The combined fleet has pushed the Draxan back beyond the Krell sector. Their attacks have decreased by 60% since we implemented joint tactics. Human military approaches are unusual but effective," admitted a council security official. "Your captains take risks our commanders would never consider." After the tour, Greg joined Samantha Brooks for a private meeting. She had become the official human ambassador to the council, though her role extended far beyond traditional diplomacy. "How are the gateway preparations coming?" she asked once they were alone. Greg checked his secure tablet. "The first council delegation is ready. We've selected representatives from 12 species to visit New Terra." "And security protocols?" "In place. The council members understand their guests, not explorers claiming territory." Samantha nodded with satisfaction. This carefully managed introduction to the Gateway network would be the true test of the new partnership. Beyond those gateways lay humanity's greatest achievement, thriving colonies and alliances with civilizations the Council had never imagined. Some Council members still struggle with the new reality, Greg noted. Especially older ones who remember when they thought they were superior to us. "Change takes time," Samantha replied. 10 years of hardship taught them humility. Now we're teaching them partnership." Their meeting was interrupted by an urgent alert. A Draxan battle group had been detected, attempting a new assault pattern against the outer defenses. "They're adapting to our combined tactics," Greg said, studying the data. Samantha smiled slightly. "Good thing adaptation is what humans do best." On the command deck of the Joint Defense Station, human and council officers worked seamlessly together, coordinating their response. 10 years ago, such cooperation would have been unthinkable. Council military doctrine had been rigid and unyielding, while humans were kept from meaningful input. Now, a human tactical officer named Frank Martinez called out a daring counter-strategy, and a council commander immediately implemented it without hesitation. The result was a complete rout of the Draxan forces. Later, as Greg watched the successful defense from the monitoring center, a young council aide approached him. "Is it true what they say?" she asked hesitantly. "That humans knew about the gateway network for years before you left?" Greg nodded. "Our explorers found the first gateway nearly 15 years ago. We tried to share the discovery, but the council wouldn't listen. Yet you came back to help us anyway." "Some wanted to leave the council to its fate," Greg admitted. "But humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or adaptability." "What is it then?" she asked. Our ability to forgive and move forward, he said. The universe is too big and life too short for endless grudges. Better to build something new together than cling to old mistakes. Outside the window, the first authorized council ship prepared to enter a gateway, ready to witness firsthand the new frontier humanity had discovered, not as conquerors or superiors, but as equals finally, worthy of the name.